Hey guys, Jose here from Survive Until Summer with a couple of resources I wanted to talk to you guys about, and hopefully you can use them in your classroom if you need help with resources. Today we're talking about behavior management. And so the resources I have here, you're going to see three resources. We have a weekly behavior report, a daily behavior report, and a behavior consequence plan here. So let's see how these are supposed to work here. These are broken up here. You see the tabs here. We have lower elementary K through 2, middle elementary 3 to 5, and upper elementary 4 to 6. Then we come over to middle school, high school, and then your teacher master copy with all the students on there. So let's start with the weekly behavior reports, because that's what you really should have for everyone on some level. Maybe not quite in the middle or the high school, although you definitely can, and it wouldn't hurt to have it. But in elementary school, it's definitely going to be 100% you want to have some kind of behavior plan in place. So here is a simple little thing here that I've created that you can use and make a copy for each student. And it basically works like this. So this would be the weekly behavior report, and you'd put the student's name here. Now, for each one of these categories, let me see, can I move this? I can't. Yes, I can. For each one of these categories, they're going to get a smiley face or a sad face, obviously. And it's going to be positive behaviors here are going to be listening, following directions, and helping others. And then areas for improvement are going to be raising hand and staying on task. Now, this is laid out like this on purpose. The first thing up top are the behavior, the positive behaviors. And these are the things that the students already do really well. This helps keep the students in the correct mindset, because anytime the student discusses their behavior chart with a teacher or a parent, by default, the first thing they hear about, the first thing they talk about with that teacher, with that parent, with that respected elder, is going to be things that they're doing well. So basically, every time they talk about these behavior reports, the first thing they get is praise. And so that's why it's important to have the positive behaviors here. And then, of course, these can be adjusted. These can change as the students gain skills. Then right under there are the areas for improvement. These obviously are going to be the behaviors that we may want to change. These are the actual reasons a student may have a daily behavior chart to begin with. Of course, this is the weekly chart, so I copied and pasted this over. Let me go ahead and actually just change that. So these are going to be the behaviors that we want to change down here for the weekly behavior reports. So up here are things they're doing well. That's the first thing you talk about. And then things that need to be improved are right here. And again, you're just going to, for every day, you're going to circle a smiley or a sad face. Now, the reason I put it like this, I put these here to be circled by hand, and then these down here are drop downs. The reason I did both is because I'm showing you that you can do this on paper, or you can do the whole thing digitally. So if you want to do the whole thing digitally, these would be drop downs, and your options would be a smiley or a sad face. And if you want to do the whole thing on paper, these would not be drop downs. These would just be like a number 1 through 5. So actually, let's get down to what these are here. The reward tracker. So you're going to see two different rewards. For the lower elementary, we're going to go with hearts and with stars. So the hearts are going to be a daily reward that is earned with points given throughout the day for doing the things the student's supposed to be doing. Just as long as the student is doing what they need to be doing, following directions, just existing throughout the day as they should be able to max out these points. These are there for them to earn, because we want them to feel like they're accomplishing something. So these should be given out freely. They should be earning these throughout the day. And so every day they're going to get 1 through 5 hearts, or 0, hopefully not 0, but every day they're going to get 1 through 5 hearts based on their performance up here. Now, of course, in the lower elementary, you're just going to kind of give them a rating. You'll see upper in the middle and the high school, where it's actually going to be something that you're going to calculate. But here we have the smiley faces, the sad faces, then the hearts are the daily reward, and then stars are going to be a little different. This is a weekly award. that accumulates over the course of the week. This is for a bigger reward that they're going to get on the weekend. Okay, now this ideally should be a reward given at home, but we all know we can't always count on the parents to follow through with that, and we need this to be consistent. So you may want to do some kind of lunch with the teacher on Friday, or some kind of reward that you could give that's a big one-time at the end of the week reward. Okay, now these should be special points. Pay special attention to this. These should be special points that are given for some kind of extra effort, which the teacher, of course, can stretch the definition of that however far you need to. So if you're really working on a difficult student, you may want to stretch the definition of that to get him some kind of points so he can feel some success. But that's going to be to your discretion. So these, of course, are going to be stars. You're going to get 1, 2, or 3, or 0 stars. Okay, and then down here are overall comments. Of course, that is self-explanatory. So each student could have one of these for the week, and then they could track how their behavior is going week to week. Okay, and then as you go up, you'll see that we're just scaling up kind of the way it looks and the way it functions. So let's go from here. We spent all the time explaining everything on the first page because the rest look just like that. So when we go to middle elementary 3 to 5, we've just changed. We went from smileys and saddies to thumbs up and thumbs down. It's the same concept that works the same way. So these guys are doing thumbs up and thumbs down. And of course, sticking with the hands theme for middle elementary, they're going to get fist bumps for their daily, and they're going to get high fives for their weeklies. Okay, moving up to upper elementary, we're going to switch the emojis up again. So these guys are getting fire emojis or ice, depending on how it goes. So they're either on fire or they're iced out. And then down here, we've gone to badges and trophies. These guys are usually by this age, they're into gaming and stuff. So badges and trophies go a long way. One thing I forgot to mention, these qualities here are changing as we go up. So we are going up to now completing tasks, showing respect, participation, focus, and follow directions. And then upper elementary, we're going to leadership, problem solving, cooperation, time management, peer interactions. And now we're going to get to middle school where it's going to start to look a little bit different, but it really does function kind of the same. So here now, instead of, basically a yes/no answer, because here it was either good or bad, right? Good or bad, good or bad, good or bad. Now there's a value assigned. So did they perform to a 1, a 2, or a 3? And of course, you'll do that to your discretion. And then here's what I described this. So instead of a yes/no response, each category now has a value and a total of up to 15 points to be earned. That's important. So on Monday, they can earn a total of 15 points with all of these qualities: respectful communication, collaboration, organization, time management, peer interaction. So every single day they can earn up to 15 points. And then on each day, you can do this daily, you can do it weekly, but you'd have to, of course, update the totals. But if on a day they earned a total of 14 to 15 points, a reward has triggered. So they get some kind of agreed upon reward. Similarly, on the other end, if their score is on the low end from 0 to 9, a consequence is triggered. So on the low end, they get a consequence. On the high end, they get a reward. If they just perform middle of the road, 10 to 13, no reward, no consequence. You did your job that day. Okay. And that's how that's going to look for middle and high school. High school and middle look exactly the same. Again, of course, these have changed. So we're going to go up to high school level. It's initiative, responsibility, critical thinking, attendance, and task completion. Okay. So these are your weekly behavior reports. Okay. And I did forget to change these words to weekly, so I'll fix those. That's kind of what threw me off there for a second. But these are your weekly behavior reports. And then here at the very end, you're going to have just a master matrix with every student on here. So you can just keep track of every student at a glance, however you want to do that. Okay. So that's this weekly behavior report. These are for everybody. Everybody should have one of these. Now, moving on to the daily behavior reports. This is more like, okay, student A is having issues where we now need to be tracking on a daily basis how the student is doing. And then when it comes down to it, I don't even really need to explain these to you because they're going to look the same. It works the same way, just on a daily basis. Okay, so every single day we would go over this with the student, but all of the categories, everything for lower, middle, upper, middle school, and high school are all the same. This is just a daily report instead of a weekly report. So I hope that makes sense here. Okay, and of course you'll pick and choose whatever you want out of all of these. Now, these two things are not useful at all without this one here, and this is what you need. Very specific. You need a behavior and consequence matrix. Okay, and what this is going to do is this is for little consequences that just happen in the classroom that aren't big enough to, well, some of them can get big, but they're just stuff you have to deal with all the time. Things like students being late to class, students being talking, being disruptive, off task, student coming in with no homework, student coming in unprepared, and then of course showing disrespect, which I would say is a little bit of an escalation, but we're going to include that as well. And what you're going to do with these is you're going to track how many times this happens for every student. Okay, so if a student is late to class once, twice, 3 times, you're going to update this number here for the week. Okay, similarly for each one of these behaviors. Okay, so we know every time student number 10, we know that they were late to class twice that week. We know that they missed homework once that week or whatever. But you can read and see what each student has done. Okay, and the reason that's important is because this is what's going to tell you what kind of consequence you're going to dole out. So if the student came in unprepared and it's their first occurrence, they're going to get a verbal reminder. So if they get 1 occurrence, they're going to get a verbal reminder. On their second occurrence, they're going to get a lunch detention. And of course, you're going to make these what you want. This is just typically what I've done and my colleagues have done. So first occurrence, verbal reminder. Second occurrence, lunch detention. Third occurrence, parent contact or conference. Students being late to class drives me crazy as a high school teacher. First occurrence is a verbal warning. Second occurrence is a lunch detention. Third occurrence is a parent contact or conference. Okay. Now some of these are going to be different because some of them are more important. So if you're disrespectful, the very first time you're getting a verbal warning and a redirection, but then after that, we're going right to a parent contact and conference, and then up to an administrative referral. Okay, similarly, over here, if you're disruptive, say, you're going to get 1 warning and redirection, but then after that, we're contacting home, and then after that, it's an administrative referral. So each one of these has been valued, and then you have of 1, 2, and 3 occurrence. And the reason you have this is so that there's no surprises. The reason you have this is that we want to set expectations so that when things happen, nobody can say they didn't expect that. Okay, so you go over this matrix with your students and you tell them, if you do these things, and of course, these are the 6 behaviors I chose. You'll put whatever works best for you, but you talk to your students. If you do these things 1, 2, and 3 times, this is what's going to happen. How am I going to keep track of it? And you can show them all this. Of course, don't show them after it's begun getting filled in, but show them how you're going to do it while it's blank. How am I going to do it? I'm going to track every time you do it on here. It's very easy. It's a Google Sheet. I can do it from my phone. I can do it from my tablet. I can do it from my computer. I don't really even have to interrupt myself if I just have this open and ready to go when I'm checking homework or when I'm doing this and that. So this should be as unobtrusive as possible. Your students should know that it's easy for you to track what they're doing, and your students should know that any behavior done any amount of times, it should be no secret what's going to happen here. Okay, so this behavior matrix, along with this tracking sheet and these behavior reports, this is your classroom management plan. This is your behavior management plan. This is what you need to build everything around, and this is what can't slip. If you're getting to that point, and of course it's March right now as I'm recording this, a lot of things slip. We have to choose what we are going to let slip and what we aren't going to let slip. This can't be one of them. Let something else slip, and this, you need to be consistent no matter what, because consistency is the only way this works. And the students will buy in if it's consistent and fair. I guess that's all I have to say about this right now. I hope this made sense. If you have any questions for me, of course, feel free to contact me through the website, and I'd be happy to help in any way. I hope this, gives you some way of controlling things in your classroom and bringing control back to your learning atmosphere and your learning environment. So good luck, and let me know if this is any kind of help, and let me know if there's any other resources that you need from me. Thanks a lot.